Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be going over the top 10 running backs for the 2022 NFL season. This is the second part of my ranking series. The criteria is the same as the quarterbacks. I'm going to leave it on the screen. You can pause it. And let's get right into this video. Najee Harris in his rookie campaign had an absolutely spectacular year. Had over 1,200 yards and over 1,600 all-purpose yards. The Steelers are a bit of a question mark this year due to their quarterback room, but I think that Najee Harris is once again going to be a main focus, especially in goal line situations. I think that he gets almost all of the carries. I can see Najee Harris being a very popular option in fantasy football, and I project Najee Harris to have once again a very good year, being the main focus of the Steelers offense, especially in the beginning of the year. Now, at 10, he was one of my borderline guys, but I think that Najee Harris has another spectacular year. He's also a 5-tool back, being able to catch out of the backfield, being able to play a traditional running back role, being able to be elusive. He has a burst, and he can play out in space. Really like Najee Harris, putting him at 10. Austin Ekeler is making a name that he is arguably one of the best receiving backs in the entire league. Austin Ekeler also accounted for 20 total touchdowns and over 1,500 all-purpose yards. Even though Austin Ekeler is an extremely small back, weighing under 200 pounds, he is extremely elusive out of the backfield, and with that added ability to catch the ball so well, he makes the Chargers' offense way more dynamic. Putting him at a top 10 running back is almost consensus at this point. The only real argument against him is that he just cannot play at the goal line, wherein they're having to put in the backup. But I am extremely high on Austin Ekeler this year, and I'm extremely high in the Chargers as a whole. Austin Ekeler is going to be one of the main reasons why the Chargers are going to be good this year. Even though Alvin Kamara has never rushed over 1,000 yards, he has made a Pro Bowl in every single year of his career. Even though 2021 was a bit of a slip from his excellent 2020 season, he still had over 1,300 all-purpose yards and was the best player on the Saints for most of the time on offense. Alvin Kamara only played 13 games last season and only had 10 of them starting. If Alvin Kamara starts 16 games this year, I think that he could finally reach over 1,000 rushing yards. Even though they did lose Teron Armstead, I think that Alvin Kamara out of the backfield is still elite. Even though he might not have that burst that other running backs do, he is still an elite weapon that the Saints could use, especially in that weak NFC. Joe Mixon had an absolutely excellent year on a really good Bengals team, boasting the third most attempts, yards, the fourth most touchdowns, and having 1,500 all-purpose yards to go along with 16 total touchdowns. Especially with the Bengals boosting their offensive line with Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa, and Ted Karras, I see Joe Mixon having another absolutely excellent year on an extremely boosted Bengals offense. The receivers are going to garner so much attention that Joe Mixon can absolutely run free if the Bengals choose so. Aaron Jones is due for the best year of his career. With Devonta Adams leaving, Aaron Jones will be the number one option on this offense. Even though Aaron Dillon did outrush him, Aaron Jones still had over 1,100 all-purpose yards. Even though guys like Joe Mixon could be even above him on this list, I'm predicting that Aaron Jones has an absolutely excellent year, and I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to target him not only out of the backfield a ton, he's going to target him on the goal line out of the backfield. He's also going to hand it off to him the majority of the time. Now, Aaron Dillon also will be a massive factor in how much he gets carries. He got a lot of them last year. I do believe that Aaron Jones will get the bulk of the carries and have that top 5 year that we've all been waiting for. Even though Dalvin Cook only played 13 games last year, he still got it done, being 5th in yards. Dalvin Cook is always going to be a namesake on that elite Minnesota offense. Even though they have Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen that are going to garner most of the attention, their new head coach, Kevin O'Connell, who is from the Rams offensive system, they like to hand the ball off a lot and they like to set the tone on the ground. So Dalvin Cook could easily get around 1,300 yards if he plays a full season and get some attention out of the backfield. Christian McCaffrey has only played 10 games in the last 2 years, only being in 7 in last year. But in those 7 games, he was still effective, having 442 total rushing yards, having 343 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. When Christian McCaffrey is fully healthy, he's a top 3 running back, but we haven't seen that since 2019. And it seems like some people need a reminder of that 2019 season where he had almost 2,400 total scrimmage yards and 19 touchdowns. His seasons usually depend on how healthy he can be, but when he is healthy, he's a top 3 running back. Nick Chubb always seems to prove how underrated he is. Nick Chubb was second in rushing yards and 6th in yards per carry, sharing a backfield with Kareem Hunt last year. Nick Chubb is not only an elite power back, he also has that excellent burst for his size. Even though the positional value of running backs has dwindled as the years gone by, Nick Chubb still proves why he is a valuable asset to that Cleveland Browns offense, especially now with the addition of Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb is still going to get a ton of carries and is still going to be extremely efficient with the carries he's given. With that elite offensive line, I think that Nick Chubb is going to prove why he's a top 3 running back and one of the main reasons why the Browns will be so successful this year. Jonathan Taylor had the breakout seasons of all breakout seasons. Jonathan Taylor was first in attempts, first in yards, first in rushing touchdowns, 8th in yards per carry, had over 2,000 total yards, had 20 touchdowns in 17 games played. Jonathan Taylor was the main reason why the Colts were so good last year, and is going to be the reason why they're once again good this year. If the offensive line can stay strong and Jonathan Taylor plays a full 17 games, there's no reason why he can't have a 2,000-yard campaign. Even though Jonathan Taylor was the best running back from last year, I have him 2 on my list, and that is because there's one running back that rules them all. Even though Derrick Henry only played 8 games due to a Jones fracture in his foot, he still had 937 yards, 10 touchdowns, and was on pace for a 2,000-yard season after the 2020 campaign, where he also had 2,000 yards. Derrick Henry is not only the best power back, he also has one of the best second and third level bursts. He's had multiple 99-yard runs and consistently is one of the best running backs at 20-plus yard carries. With A.J. Brown getting traded away, Derrick Henry once again going to get force-fed the ball. He's likely going to get 400 carries and might even have 2,000 yards again. With Ryan Tannehill getting a little turnover happy in the end of the games, Derrick Henry is likely going to get a hell of a lot of carries this year, and that's why he's going to be my number 1 running back. And that's going to do it for this video. Even though the positional value of running backs has fallen over the years, I still think that they have value. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about these videos, and receivers are next.